Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're currently working on your AMCAS application and you're feeling stuck on the activity section, you are not alone. I'm 𝗀𝗵𝗹, a current first-year medical student, and today I'm going to be walking you guys through how I structured my activity section to get multiple acceptances to many different medical schools. Throughout this video, I'm going to be giving you guys some tips, but also spilling my word-to-word entries and what I submitted so you guys can kind of read it and get a sense of how you need to structure your own activity section. And since you guys are already here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button because I'm going to be coming out with a new video on how to write your secondaries efficiently and fast, because I know that's right around the corner. Anyways, let's get right into the video. Okay, so first let's talk a little bit about the AMCAS activities section and how it's structured when you actually log on to submit your application. So the activities section allows a total of 15 entries, and this can range from anything from research to leadership to clinical experience or shadowing, you name it. Now for each of these 15 entries, you get around 700 characters max to basically explain what your role was and how it impacted you. Now, that's not a lot, so thankfully the AMCAS application allows you to name 3 of these 15 activities as your most meaningful. Now, what happens when you label it as your most meaningful? You get to unlock an extra 1,325 characters, so a separate section where you get to kind of tell your story and elaborate on how this experience allows you to be a better physician. So for a quick recap, you get 15 total entries, and then out of these 15 entries, you can pick 3 of them to be your most meaningful. All right, my first tip for you guys is don't just list what you did, but reflect on it. So for example, let's say you were the leader of a organization or club at your school. Don't just say, I led this organization or club, and through that, I did this and this. Instead, talk about what qualities you've learned, like I built leadership skills by hosting large-scale events that fostered a sense of community within my campus. Things like this allow medical school admissions committees to see past what you did and kind of learn what qualities and characteristics you embodied that you can bring to their medical school. Now, my second tip is always tie it back to why medicine. So I know you only have 700 characters maximum for each of these entries, but it's really important that your last sentence or second to last sentence ties in how this activity makes you a better physician. So in the previous example I talked about, let's say you were the leader of a club, and originally maybe this club was unrelated to medicine. Maybe it was about writing books, but maybe you can tie a little sentence kind of describing how writing books allows you to improve your communication and as a future physician, communicate better with your patients. And my last tip is please use numbers and outcomes. So if you did something really meaningful in your community, don't just say, this is what I did. Say, I held this event that helped over 600 people do X, Y, and Z. You see, numbers show outcome, and it shows that you made a tangible impact in your community rather than just stating what you did and not really showing the scale of which you impacted others. All right, now how do you incorporate these tips when you're actually writing your paragraph style AMCAS activities list? Let's take a look at some of the examples word for word that I submitted in my AMCAS application. Okay, so the first example is actually when I worked as a residence assistant. Now, this is a great example of a non-clinical job that still I was able to connect to the broader field of medicine. Now, even though this job doesn't seem medical at first, I ended the entry by explaining how it prepared me to be calm under pressure and advocate for others. I also talked about how it's kind of relatable to being on call and supporting students through late night issues and building trust in that hard transition, just like I'll do for future patients. All right, my next example is when I was the committee chair of my student senate in my undergraduate institution. Now in this one, I really focused on numbers and outcomes. I wrote about how I managed over 100K budgets, led committee meetings, and organized major campus events that fostered over 1,000 attendees. But I didn't stop there. I tied it back to patient advocacy and decision making, which are core skills in medicine. And the last example I have for this section is being a Udemy course instructor. Now this was an education-based activity. In this section, I explained how I created online clinical medical assistant courses that reached over 650 students worldwide. I reflected on how that helped me learn to simplify complex topics, which is exactly what you're going to be needing as a future doctor when you break down complex diseases into understandable terms for your patients. So overall, do you see how I was able to connect these seemingly unrelated to medicine activities and really tie them into how it's going to help me as a future physician, while also using numbers and outcomes to explain how broad my impact really was in my community? So those tips are exactly what you need to be prioritizing in your 700 character count sections in your activities list. All right, now let's transition into how to write that extra paragraph when you label an activity as most meaningful. So when you start writing these most meaningful paragraphs, go deep. Talk about a personal incident that you might have seen, and write about what happened, what did I do, and what learnings will I carry with me to medicine. So let's quickly take a look at some of my examples. The first example I have is when I was a tutor for accelerating scholars. I used a narrative format here. It's one of my most meaningful experiences. I talked about a specific moment with my 3rd grade tutee, who broke down crying at our last session. I didn't just list hours or subjects, I reflected on the emotional connection, the importance of trust, and how this shaped my commitment to patient care. My second example is being a Division I varsity tennis athlete. This is really important because I talked about leading my team through injury setbacks, being one of the youngest players in a leadership position, and how my motto, "Leave the program better than you found it," shaped the way I approach healthcare teamwork as well. And lastly, as part of my sickle cell disease research project that I was very involved with throughout my undergraduate career, I also had the opportunity to travel abroad to Sierra Leone, Africa to expand upon this research. So in this section, I shared a story of how something as simple as gumballs helped me build trust with kids and families while running public health workshops in this country. I reflected on cultural humility, stigma, and what it means to connect through kindness. It's honestly one of the most personal entries I ended up writing. So overall in this section, I hope you understood that writing hooks and meaningful entries and starting off your paragraphs with personal connections and personal stories is going to be very, very important. So these are just some of the personal entries that I wrote for my AMCAS application that helped me get accepted to multiple different medical schools, and also just helped me highlight who I am beyond my stats. I hope this video helped you prepare how to write your AMCAS application, and if you want more videos like these, make sure to comment down below if you want a part 2. Anyways, good luck to all of you guys that are filling in your application this cycle. I know it can be a tedious process, but it is so rewarding, trust me. So just push through. You've got this, future docs. I'll see you in the next video.